Hey you guys, it's Catherine Joy. Welcome back to another Next Level Lifestyle video. You guys probably saw my rocking chair upholstery / slipcover job, and today we are going to actually be upholstering this chair. If you don't know how to sew, if you have no experience doing this, don't worry, neither do I, and I actually did this whole process without sewing, which was fantastic. I'm not an expert, and so I decided to just start with an old sheet and go ahead and make pattern pieces out of the sheet because I didn't know the beginnings of figuring out how much fabric I need. So I just made these pieces for how I figured I would put it on the chair, cut them out, and then ended up going to Joann's and telling the lady at the register what size pieces I need, and she helped me do the math. I got this lovely fabric, and I'm over here at my parents' house, and my sister Chloe, who you guys met in my pumpkin muffin video, is going to help me with this project. I'm super grateful. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start laying out this fabric here and cutting out the seat piece. To me, this seemed like the most straightforward piece, so I decided to stick with that first. The lady who's wandering around with her head cut off is my mom. She's adorable and she had 11 kids. She does not look like she had 11 kids, but she's like my biggest fan and she loves watching me do projects. So you guys might notice that here I am just stuffing the fabric in the corners of the chair for the seat piece and the back piece. So depending on what kind of chair you have, this may or may not work, but I actually sat in this chair a lot and the fabric stays super close to the chair and super secure. So for me, I was able to do this. Most upholstery jobs actually go ahead and tear off the old fabric before putting on the new fabric, but for me, that was just way too intense. I didn't want a project that was going to take me weeks to finish and that I might mess up on. I wanted something that was cheap, easy, and quick to do. So that's why I decided to just go ahead by tucking in this fabric. I might have used a fabric glue or something like that if it was a little baggier, but this worked perfectly fine for this chair. I'm just folding over that front piece and stapling it down. We had a terrible stapler. Well, either that or I'm terrible at stapling. I had to keep pulling out all the staples that I missed put in. Chloe was super brave and let me beat around her fingers, which is totally crazy, and I managed to only hit my own fingers. And so hopefully Chloe will work with me again in the future. So there you guys go. That is like my terrible stapling job, but that is the bottom front of the chair where I'm securing it with staples. Next, we folded under these raw edges and stapled that down tight, and stapled it again and stapled it again. That was behind the scenes with the sound on. Me getting frustrated at that staple gun. I don't actually know what you would call these, but they're just some darts or some gathers. Pleats. I think that's what you call them. I did some pleats on the corners of the chair to make it conform to the shape of the chair better. And here Chloe and I are just imagining how the back would work. Again, I'm kind of winging this. I have no experience in this whatsoever, so do this at your own risk, okay? If you're gonna copy what I'm doing, it worked for me, you might have to do something different and make it work for you. My goal was to just get different fabric on this chair because this chair is really stained. I didn't take good before pictures of it, but it's like nasty stained. However, it's actually a really expensive chair that was given to Elisha and I by my parents when they moved, and so I did want to keep it. Here I'm just cutting off the fabric to make it easier to slide in the corners of the chair, and then I am stapling the back a little bit here. This this actually is when the staple gun broke. We ran out of staples. And so here, Chloe and I are eyeing up the chair, seeing how we like it, and imagining whether we want puffy side arms, whether we want tight side arms, or how we're going to actually go about that process, because the arms were really intimidating. Another day, another shot. Here I am back at home trying to figure out how I'm going to do this. I ended up getting a much better staple gun, and I decided to secure all 4 edges of the side panels with staples. So here I am stapling under the arm to start. Then I did that little pleating again on the back of the chair, and then went and stapled the bottom of the chair, and then went and stapled the back of the chair. So as you can see, this is really tight, really firm, and really secure on all 4 edges of this side. After I cut off the excess fabric, this is how it looks. And Leon's playing with his toothbrush. Work from home. This is what working from home looks like. Okay, so then I went ahead and stapled the front on this right-hand side of the arm. I tried to staple the left-hand side of the arm too, but there wasn't anything to staple into, and so my staples just kept coming out, which was actually really frustrating. So I was gonna have to come up with a different solution on this. Again, every chair is different. This worked for this chair, but it might not work for your chair. I got some fabric glue and just glued down the top of the fabric so that it would stay in place. I didn't find this tacky spray honestly that tacky, but it did the job for basically basting the fabric in place. Cool thing about this fabric, it was originally $150, and I used so many coupons to get it down to $66. So I'm super stoked about that. Both sides have been stapled already, and so I'm just hot gluing this back panel down because everything else is secure around it, and this is really just for looks. It's not going to take a lot of pressure through sitting or the kids grabbing on it or stuff like that. I'm going to go ahead and cut off the excess fabric and do a little bit of pleating up here. I tried tacky glue, that didn't work that well, so now I'm just going ahead and using hot glue, which is surprisingly super durable. Here I am responding to you guys on Instagram, and I'm just going to go ahead and do this hot glue all the way around and do my little pleats. I'm using a book to hold it because hot glue burns like the dickens, so I'm trying to avoid the heat. Here's how it looks before I put the front piece on. It's actually really, really secure. Any part that's taking like a big brunt of strain is stapled, mainly that right-hand side. The left-hand side, well, that's just hot glued. And it's another day, another outfit. I still haven't washed my hair since the beginning of this video. At least that's what it looks like. I basically did the same exact thing you saw on the right-hand side, on the left-hand side. I just stuck little pins in the front of the fabric and pinned a piece of fabric to the chair and then cut out around the shape of the arm. Then once I got the general idea, I went in and did it a little bit tighter all the way around the chair. If I did this again, I would do it so that it worked on one side and then cut out a replica for the opposite side. I wish I had done this on this chair because both arms did not turn out the exact same way, but it worked. Then I just took that tacky spray, sprayed it on the back of this fabric and stuck it up here so that I made sure it fit. And then I hot glued around the fabric, securing it even tighter. This hot glue setup may look really janky, you guys, but it works like really, really good. I actually was going to use my sewing machine and do a little bit more legitimate upholstery on the sleeves by sewing the front panel to the sleeve panel, but my sewing machine bit the dust, so I wasn't able to do that. Then I'm just covering up these staples with this cording that I got for $5, so it's a pretty good deal. This whole entire chair ended up being $70 to complete, and it is, like I said, a really incredibly nice chair. So it's way cheaper for me to put new fabric on it than to go out and buy a whole new chair. And I do have 2 little kids. I'm assuming that by the time my upholstery job falls apart, the fabric will already be soiled and looking for a replacement anyways. Like I just mentioned, I do have 2 little kids, and so I did want somewhat of a slipcover because the day after I finished this chair, Leon was sitting in it with his grubby little feet, and I was like, no, get off my chair, and I don't want to be telling him that all the time. So I decided to sew this piece of fabric. I just hemmed the edges, and I got my machine to work for about one side of this. The rest of it I hot glued because my machine was acting up. And then I just hot glued a V of that cording in the front. And here is the finished chair. I love how it turned out, you guys. For a total hack job, it's actually super secure. I don't have any problems with Leon jumping all over it because I know it's going to stay in place. It looks really beautiful, and it just brings this pop of color and floral and beauty into our living room. I'm so happy with the lines of it, and I'm so grateful you guys followed me along for this journey. It was a true next level lifestyle project, and I am in love. And here you guys can see it with that little slip cover bit on it. This I can pop out really easy and throw in the wash. So I'm super happy with the slip cover part that just sits on top of the chair. It's super secure, and I can throw it in the wash when it gets gross and dirty. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're looking forward to more next level lifestyle projects, and if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. I would love to have you guys along for the journey. And also, actually, if you have been subscribed, YouTube has been unsubscribing people. So you might want to make sure you're still subscribed and hit that notification bell. I hope you guys have an awesome week, and I will see you soon. Bye.